So today we're going to be talking about PAT, which is the fundamentals of communication, and that's what this course is really built upon. So this is a writing course, and in this course I'm going to teach you how to write at the college level. But what is writing? Writing is communication. And so really the fundamentals of this course, and really any course that involves communicating, is PAT. And what does that stand for? Well, it stands for purpose, audience, and tone. Each one of these things is fundamental in understanding the how and the why and the best ways of communicating with someone to get your message across. So let's start with the purpose. And the purpose is the why. Why are you communicating with this person or this entity? And that communication can take the form of verbal or written or whatever. It's you trying to communicate with others. Why? In order to understand your why, you have to have a clear purpose. And when you really break it down, when you really boil it down, there are only 3 reasons why someone would ever want to communicate with someone else: to inform, to entertain, or to persuade. These can take the shape in a writing class of 4 different ways: summarization, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. So right now, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to inform you, and I hope I'm informing you in a somewhat entertaining way. When you watch a commercial, chances are, if it's a medical commercial, they're trying to inform you. If it's a commercial for a product like a toy, they're trying to entertain you. If it's a product for like a presidential candidate or whatever, they're trying to persuade you. And sometimes those lines can get blurred, that they'll try to persuade and entertain you, or persuade, entertain, and inform you. It just depends. So when you're summarizing information for someone, what you're really trying to do is you're trying to break down complex information into bite-sized chunks, trying to explain, inform your audience of something complex in a clear to understand way, just like what I'm trying to do now. I'm trying to summarize this fundamental process of communication. In order to summarize something properly, you have to understand the concept itself. If I don't know what PAT is, if I don't understand it in and out, how can I possibly summarize it for you so that you understand it? Analysis is when you take something complex and you take it apart and you look at how those different parts of the thing work together to create the whole. Kind of like when you take your car to a mechanic and you say, can you fix this for me? Well, first they have to break it apart and see what's going on. They have to analyze the problem so that they can fix it. Okay? A synthesis is when you combine multiple things together to form new insight or new meaning, kind of like a research paper. I've gathered all these different pieces of evidence to try to convince you that my side or my point is correct. And then evaluation. This is when you're judging the worth or the value of something, like a movie critic will watch a movie and they will evaluate how good or bad the movie is, or how good or bad the actor or actress is, based on certain sets of criteria. Their acting, the special effects, the sound, whatever. Okay? You then have the audience. So that all describes the why, the purpose. Now you have to figure out, now that you know what it is you're trying to communicate and why you're trying to communicate it, now you have to figure out the best way to reach those that need to hear it. If you're trying to convince your parents of something, you know better than most, because they're your parents, how best to communicate that information. If you're trying to explain something to them, you might use a certain tone of voice, you might use a certain method or certain words. If you're trying to persuade them, Mom, can I please go to Johnny's party this evening? You're going to use a certain tone of voice. You're going to use a certain method of communication with them because of who they are. And depending on who your audience is, that's going to change the way that you approach them with your purpose. And these things can rely on things like demographics, who it is that you're speaking to. If I'm talking to a room full of a particular group of people, let's say I'm talking to a room full of women, I should probably avoid saying anything that might come across as sexist. If I'm speaking to a room full of people of higher education, I might up my vocabulary, or I might use things that are going to sound a bit more academic in nature. I might rely on my own prior knowledge of the topic, personal anecdotes, things like that. Or if I know that my audience expects certain things, they're a part of a particular group of people that are for or against a particular topic, if I know that they're for that particular topic, I'm going to talk about things that are going to encourage them or enhance their love of that topic. On the same time, if I know that they're against a particular topic, I'm going to attempt to vilify that topic, make it sound worse, to get on their good side. So how do I do this? Well, that's tone. The way in which I communicate. You ever heard the expression, it's not what you say, but how you say it? Well, that's especially true in different forms of communication, especially things like persuasion. Okay, so the best way to reach people depends on the how, the tone. Building connections between you and your audience and your purpose. If I know that my audience is younger, children, let's say, then I understand that children don't really get sarcasm very well. So I'm not going to be super sarcastic, even though that's kind of in my nature to be really sarcastic. I'm going to leave my sarcasm at the door because children aren't going to get it, and it's going to affect my ability to reach that audience with my purpose. So, think about your purpose, your audience, your why, your who, and your how, and put it all together with your content, the what. If I know that my content is too advanced for my particular audience, or too dry of a tone for my particular audience, or too complex to get my purpose across, then I know that I need to fix my content so that it fits my purpose, my audience, and my tone. How do we do this? Here's some questions to ask. Who am I? Who's the storyteller? What sorts of techniques can I use to get my story across? And by story, I'm talking about my content, okay? What's my motivation? When you're listening to somebody and you're thinking about these things, purpose, audience, tone, and content, think about why. Why are they communicating with you? If it's a particular politician, what are they selling you on? Are they trying to sell you something? Are they selling you a bill of goods? Are they being genuine with you? What's their end goal? When you see a commercial for McDonald's, what's their purpose? What's their end goal? Who's this for? How do you know that? What sorts of ways are they manipulating you or changing the information to try to best reach you? Is this news article biased? Or is it relaying the information in a fair and complete manner? If it is biased, why is it biased? Who's it biased towards? These are all things to consider. when you're thinking about purpose, audience, and tone. In my next video, I'm going to give you an example looking at some specific things and how they manipulate you.